Disclaimer: the stories shared on this channel are personal near-death experience and health.
My name is Pastor Elijah R. Porter. I am 38. I died for 25 minutes on July 9, 2022.
And for years I hid a hunger behind a pulpit. I told myself I was shepherding, that late-night texts and friendly calls were pastoral care, that a little attention did not matter. But deep down I knew something inside me was drifting, and I refused to face it. I grew up under my mother's hands, my mother from Accra, Ghana, who prayed into my cradle in Twi and taught me that words are sacred. She told stories of ancestors who guarded their tongues. I nodded along as a boy. I wore those lessons like a second shirt when I led worship on Sundays. People in Baltimore called me steady. They trusted me with funerals, with hospital beds, with secrets. They believed that a pastor is a safe harbor. I believed it too, until small things began to feel larger. It started like that, small. A compliment at a church event, a well-timed message when someone was hurting, a voice on the other end that listened longer than my wife did that week. I told myself I was caring, that I was needed. I convinced myself, slowly, that attention was ministry. And because I believed the motive was good, I allowed the method to bend. I remember the first late-night message, the kind that makes the hour feel like a conspiracy. I was grading notes for the Wednesday Bible study. The house lights were low, my phone blinked, a name I should not have wanted lit the screen. "Are you up?" it read. I told myself I was being pastoral. I typed back a line of comfort. She typed back a joke. We laughed in text, image by image, line by line. Then the jokes softened. The texts lengthened. They slid from counseling to confession, to a place where the heart speaks differently. My marriage did not break in a thunderstorm. It slowed in the drip of small compromises. I would kiss my wife goodnight and then slide into a message thread that made me feel seen. I would sit in the Sunday sermon and feel the buzz in my pocket, an echo that began to mean something like approval. Approval is dangerous when it begins to replace conviction. I am not proud of the moments I now recount. I know what words can do. I know how they can turn bone to ash. But I will be honest, it started with a laugh. A sister from church messaged me late one night, "Pastor, you still awake? I cannot sleep." I typed back, "I am here. What is wrong?" She replied with a voice note, soft, familiar. "I just needed someone to talk to. You listen better than most people." That line did something in me. Then came another woman. "I wish my husband talked like you." Another one, "Pastor, you always know what to say." And I let it happen. I answered calls in the dark, hushed like secrets slipping under a door. "You okay?" I would ask. "I am now that you picked up." Sometimes it was DMs, quick little messages that felt like warmth on a cold day. "You look good today. I missed seeing you." Sometimes it was in person, an extra long handshake, a hand resting on my arm after prayer. "Thank you for checking on me," she would whisper, and I would smile, knowing the smile meant more than it should. All of it felt harmless. But every small moment built a room inside me that was not for my wife, and not for God. There were warning signs. My mother would watch me speak and say, "Elijah, remember who you are." I waved the note away. In the staff room, someone joked about my late nights, and I told a lie about hospital visits. Lies become cushions. Cushions become beds. I did not know I was sleeping on a slow betrayal. The breaking point is not always dramatic. Mine happened on an ordinary night, July 9th, 2022, after a long day. I had counseled a grieving family, met with deacons, stayed late for a youth rehearsal. I went home exhausted. I sat at the kitchen table to clear my head and opened a message that read like an invitation. The conversation was warm. The phone glowed. I kept replying. I reached for my wallet to take out my keys, and my hand trembled. A pain like a hot fist clenched my chest. My breath thinned, the room tilted. It happened quickly then. One moment I was reaching, and the next my vision tunneled. I felt the world slip away as if a final curtain had been pulled. I think I remember my wife calling my name, soft at first, then a sharp panic, but it sounded far, like from the end of a long tunnel. The pain was a drum beating in the hollow between my ribs. I fell. My head struck the corner of the table. My phone skated away and left the screen aglow with the unread message. In that small glowing rectangle, everything I had used to justify myself blinked back. Then the stranger thing, my body lay there, and I was not in it. I could see my own hand splayed on the floor, my wedding band catching the light, the phone a blue sun beside it. My chest below rose not at all. My wife knelt. Her voice was an underwater hum. I heard people shout my name, "Elijah! Elijah!" But the sound arrived like a message flattened by distance. I tried to move. I could not. It was as if someone had traded my fingers for glass. The separation was slow and cruel. I was awake, but I was outside of wakefulness. My senses stretched and contracted. Colors drained to a thin wash. Sound became a layered echo. Time unstitched itself. I watched a nurse press her hand to my chest and the numbers on the monitor fall and flatten like a drawn-out sigh. I watched the call light flicker and my wife covered her mouth and wept. I could see them. I could not touch them. I wanted to scream but had no voice. A heaviness pressed against my sternum, but it was not the pain that had felled me. It was an anticipatory pressure, like the moment before an avalanche, and then an invisible pull. It hooked me somewhere behind my sternum and tugged, not with malice, but like a current. I tried to grip anything, my wedding band, the edge of the table, but I slipped as if hand and wood were made of fog. I felt myself drawn backward into a dark that moved. The world narrowed to a rim of light and then closed. The descent was not falling. Falling implies speed and end. This was being unmade inch by inch. The air thickened, not with smoke but with meaning. Heat rose in waves that did not burn skin but pressed down on the chest like a stone. Voices came, soft, overlapping, their words indistinguishable, but the feeling behind them was intact, regret. The darkness had texture. It seemed to remember my name. Shadows slid along surfaces where surfaces should not be. I was not alone, yet I was unbearably alone. I thought of my mother then, her hands on my head, the prayers said aloud in Twi, the sternness when I dismissed her warnings. I thought of my wife, of the way she made coffee for me at dawn, the way she hummed when she tidied the study. I thought of the smiles I had traded for messages. Each memory pricked me like a thorn. I understood in those first breaths of that place how small compromises stitch a life into a direction. Then a whisper moved through the dark and said a name, my name, like a verdict. The whisper was not loud, it did not need to be. Everything in me tuned to it. The darkness shifted, something unseen watched. The descent became the last straight road before a gate. And on that road I felt the weight of every small conversation I had called harmless. The darkness paused around me, and for one fragile breath I thought the visions were ending. But then, everything in that realm shifted. The ground beneath my feet trembled, cracking like molten glass breaking under weight. The heat rose in a sudden surge, pressing into my spirit like invisible fire. And then I heard it, a sound like chains being dragged across stone. Slow, heavy, deliberate. My chest tightened, my breath, though not physical, felt stolen. The presence of truth that had been beside me did not move, but the darkness moved instead. It parted, and something stepped forward, not human, not a creature, but an enforcer of consequence.
A shadow of judgment. No shape, no face, but authority. The kind of authority that makes your soul tremble because you know it has the right to execute a sentence. A whip materialized in the air beside it. Not leather, not metal, a strip of pure spiritual consequence, woven from the weight of my own choices. I staggered back. No, please. The words dissolved like breath swallowed by wind. The voice that had spoken earlier did not stop this thing. It simply said, "You must feel what you shaped." Before I could think, the whip cracked. Not through the air, but through my soul. Pain shot through me, not on my skin, but in the deepest places. The places where pride lived, where excuses lived, where secret longings lived. The pain went into those hidden spots like fire searching for dry wood. I screamed, but my scream was swallowed instantly by the heavy air. Second crack. This one hit the part of me where I had stored my justifications. I was being pastoral. Ouch. I was feeling pain. I was helping. I struggled to speak. I meant no harm. Oh Jesus, I scream. With each strike, pieces of my illusions shattered. My spirit trembled, shaking violently as though the ground itself wanted to pull me under. I fell to my knees. The molten stone beneath me pulsed, alive, breathing, tightening its heat around my legs like shackles. I heard the next whip rising behind me, but then something else pierced the darkness. A sound that did not belong there. It was faint at first, so small it almost dissolved before reaching me. Unlike the cries of others, this sound carried a different weight. No regret, not judgment, not despair. It was a prayer, a whispered prayer. A woman's voice, trembling, soaked in tears, rising from a heart that believed God still listens. My wife. Father, please, please, please bring my husband back. Do not let my children grow up without him. Her voice broke, and the entire realm seemed to flinch.
The darkness around me recoiled like something had disturbed its order. Another sound followed. Children. Two little voices. High, soft, desperate. Jesus, please help Daddy. Please don't let him die. Those small voices carried something the darkness could not swallow. Innocence. Innocence rang like light behind their words. And hell hates innocence. It cannot own it. It cannot mimic it. It cannot touch it. The whip froze midair. The enforcer of judgment turned slightly, as if blocked by something unseen. The presence beside me, truth itself, spoke in a tone I had not yet heard there. Softer, calmer, almost reverent. Mercy has spoken your name. I lifted my head, shaking, breathless, broken. What do you mean? The presence answered. Their prayers rise like fire through every darkness. Your wife's tears reach the throne. Your children's innocence appealed to the judge. Mercy overrules what judgment began. The whip shook, trying to strike again, but something brighter began to seep into the atmosphere. A thin thread of light appeared overhead, stretching across the darkness like a tear being drawn open. Then the ground beneath me cracked violently, not in destruction, but in interruption. The presence continued. Your sin called for consequence, but their intercession called for interruption. I looked up. The thread of light widened, and a figure stepped through, radiant, pure, terrifying in holiness, yet overwhelming in peace. An angel, not with wings, not feathers, not a body, but a being made of pure authority, pure light, pure assignment. Its presence hit the realm like a blast of wind that hell had no defense against. The enforcer of judgment stepped back, its whip dissolving instantly. The angel pointed toward me, and its voice was not loud, but the entire realm shook under it. Enough. The darkness trembled, the heat recoiled. The smoke peeled away from me like frightened shadows. Then the angel turned its face toward me, and when it spoke, I felt my spirit collapse under the weight of its words. Elijah, your wife stood between you in this place. A sob tore through me. I had not known love like that. I had not honored love like that. I had betrayed love like that. The angel continued, your children lifted a shield your choices could not destroy. I put my hands over my face and wept, raw, shaking, grief pouring out of me like a dam broken. The angel knelt, light wrapped around me, not warm, but piercing. The kind of light that exposes everything hidden. You will return. Not because you earned it, but because mercy fought for you. A roar of wind exploded around us. The darkness screamed, not a sound, but a vibration of protest. The realm shook like it was losing something it believed it had rightful claim to. The angel reached out, and for the first time since my descent, I felt touch. A hand, not flesh but presence, gripped my arm. Everything inside me trembled under that touch. It was not gentle. It was not soft. It was merciful, which is fiercer than judgment itself. You must warn them, the angel said, for you have seen what careless words create. The ground split open beneath me, white light pouring upward like a flood. The heat vanished, the cries silenced, the smoke dissolved. The angel pushed me upward with one command, return. The force shot through me like a storm ripping through my spirit. And hell let me go. I came back with a scream. Air hit my lungs like a new command. My chest convulsed, pain and blessing collided. The room swam with white, bright lights, voices, beeping machines, voices that sounded too loud, too close. Nurses leaned over me. A woman shouted my name. A hand squeezed mine with ferocity. I saw my wife's face first, flooded with tears, hair wild, eyes hollowed by a grave kind of fear. She held me like she had found a child in the dark. Stay with us. Stay with us, someone shouted. Her voice cut through the chaos like a blade. I felt her lips on my forehead. I felt her fingers claw into my hand. I heard our children sobbing down the hall. I smelled antiseptic and coffee and home. I tried to speak. My throat was a canyon. Words scraped out like sand. I am sorry, I said. I said it to her first, then to the room, then to myself. The sentence was small and enormous all at once. They told me later that I flatlined, 25 minutes without breath. They told me my heart stopped. They told me they saw no hope. They told me my wife did not leave my side. They told me my children prayed aloud, their small voices lifting like incense. My mother, they said, had flown in from across speaking twee prayers she had taught me as a boy. I had not earned those prayers. I had not deserved that kind of pleading. Yet they rose. When the doctors handed me a phone to my wife, I heard her say 4 words that would haunt and heal me. "You are home now." I wept until the bed shook. There is a moment after revival that feels like walking out of winter into summer and finding the sun strange. Everything is the same, and yet nothing is the same. I lay in that hospital bed and felt the world rearrange itself around me. I knew by the weight in my chest and the tremor in my hands that the place I had seen was not a dream. It was a court. It was a mirror. It was a summons. I pulled my wife close. I looked at the lines beside her mouth that I had watched deepen by my absence. I said what a man must say and had not said enough. "I betrayed your trust. I am sorry. Forgive me." I said it slow, each syllable a confession. She answered with a sob and a shaky, "I forgive you." But her forgiveness was not simple. It was laden. It was heavy. It would require rebuilding. I told her everything, the texts, the calls, the late nights. I showed her the trail I had tried to hide. I did not offer excuses, I offered the truth. Her face crumpled. She put her head on my chest and wept. Our children sat by the bed holding hands, faces wet. They hugged me like they believed I could be whole again. Their smallness had saved me. Their prayers had argued with heaven. Their innocence had become a shield. We left the hospital 2 weeks later. The first weeks were an endless litany of truth and repair. I turned my phone over to my wife. She held it like it was both treasure and weapon. I deleted numbers. I apologized to people I had misled. I resigned from committees I had allowed to become excuses. I asked for counseling. I went to my mother and sat beneath her hands as she whispered twee over me, words that tasted of home and accountability. She told me sternly, like mothers do, "Elijah, the tongue is dangerous. Respect it." I agreed. I meant it. I returned to the pulpit. My voice broke the first Sunday back. The congregation watched me like someone might watch a man step out of a hospital and into sunlight. I told them nothing grand. I told them the truth. I told them that I had seen a place that was real, a place where conversations built prisons. I told them that the smallest words can stake a soul. I told them about mercy that was fought for by a wife and by innocent children. The sanctuary held its breath. A woman in the third row clutched her Bible as if to anchor herself. Men I had counseled came forward and prayed. People who had judged me before found their faces wet. I did not preach condemnation. I preached an alarm softened by hope. The work afterward was not dramatic in the world's sense. It was quiet and daily. I entered into transparency. I invited 2 elders into my phone logs. I submitted to a council of accountability that met weekly. I began counseling those who struggled in secret with words and attention. I taught a new class, guarding the tongue and the heart, and it filled. I spoke plainly about DMs, about late-night calls, about the slow seduction of being seen by others. I used my story not to excuse myself, but to draw a map that others might follow away from the cliff I had nearly fallen from. I returned to my wife in small ways. I learned to let silence be our friend again. I learned to listen like a man who had almost lost his home. I learned to apologize without making explanations. We rebuilt with therapy, with prayer, with hard conversations. I sat with my children and told them, in the simplest language a child can understand, that Daddy had made mistakes and that he would work to be better. They forgave in child ways. They watched my actions more than my words. My ministry shifted. I did not stop shepherding. I started ministering with a new ferocity against the harmless things that ruin souls. I preached about small compromises and their large end. I preached about the danger of flattering attention that hides a snare. I urged fathers to guard the heart and mothers to teach children the power of prayer. I partnered with women leaders to teach boundaries and pastoral care. I published a short booklet for the church, practical steps for digital purity, for accountability, for restoring trust. Do not imagine redemption is cheap. It is not instant. Trust is rebuilt by tiny acts repeated over long seasons. I lost some friendships. I gained new humility. I learned to sleep with my Bible across my chest. I learned how to answer my wife's questions with openness rather than defensiveness. I stood naked before God and my congregation and said I was becoming what I refused to change. I asked them to hold me accountable. They did. If you're hearing this, know this. Repentance is not only feeling bad. Repentance is action that matches sorrow. Repentance is deleting the threads that bind you. Repentance is making amends. Repentance is staying away from places where temptation smiles like a friend. I will not preach only to scare, I will preach to the rescue. There is mercy that can be called through the prayers of the faithful. There is a way back, but mercy does not make the consequences disappear. Mercy gives you a chance to change the next step. One sentence I carry with me always. Guard the conversations you think are harmless. They may decide your eternity. If you are still here listening to my voice, I want you to pause and breathe. Tell me which country you are watching from, not for numbers, so I can include your city before God tonight. I will pray for anyone standing where I once stood, people fighting conversations that feel harmless but are slowly bending their soul. Fathers wrestle with secret attention, mothers carrying silent wounds, young people are drawn to voices they know they should ignore, and pastors, leaders, who think temptation will give them a special pass. Wherever you are, let this be your moment, your turning, your warning, your rescue before your regret. And please, do not keep this to yourself. Share this video with at least 3 people you love. Someone's chain might break because of your obedience. If this testimony spoke to your spirit, subscribe to this channel, turn on the notifications, and stay close. There are more warnings, more truth, and more encounters the world needs to hear. I pray the next story strengthens you before the next temptation tests you.